The first thing people noticed was the way her hands trembled as she placed the small carton of milk back on the counter, as if returning it hurt more than buying it ever could. It was late morning, sunlight pouring through the grocery store windows, when the millionaire saw a poor single mother quietly shake her head at the cashier, tears burning behind her eyes while her little daughter clutched her sleeve, confused and hungry. In that moment, surrounded by shelves overflowing with abundance, one simple act of returning a child's milk exposed a truth so raw that it stopped him in his tracks. If you believe that kindness still exists in this world and that people deserve second chances, take a second right now to like this video, comment, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel Single Dad Diaries. Your support helps keep stories like this alive. Her name was Maribel Cruz, and exhaustion lived permanently on her face. She had been a single mother for 3 years, ever since her husband died in a factory accident that left her alone with hospital bills, rent overdue notices, and a baby girl who depended on her for everything. That morning had started before sunrise, like most of her days. She cleaned houses from dawn until noon, earning just enough to keep the lights on if she was careful. Careful had become her identity. Careful with money, careful with food, careful with dreams she no longer allowed herself to imagine. The grocery store was supposed to be a quick stop. Milk, bread, maybe a few eggs if the prices hadn't gone up again. Her daughter, Alina, sat in the cart, kicking her feet, pointing at colorful boxes and laughing at nothing in particular. That laugh was the only thing that kept Maribel standing some days. But when the total flashed on the screen, something didn't add up. The milk alone had gone up since last week. It was only a few coins more, but for Maribel, a few coins might as well have been a wall. She checked her wallet twice, then a third time, hoping money would magically appear. It didn't. Her chest tightened as she realized she had to choose between the milk and the bus fare home. With a deep breath, she slid the milk back across the counter, forcing a small smile she didn't feel. Alina's tiny fingers reached for it instinctively, not understanding why her favorite drink was suddenly being taken away. Across the aisle stood Julian Moreau, a man whose name appeared regularly in business magazines and charity galas. He was known as a self-made millionaire, the founder of a logistics company that employed thousands. That day, he wasn't wearing a suit. He had stopped by the store after visiting one of his warehouses nearby. He almost walked past the scene, like so many others did every day, but something made him pause. Maybe it was the way Maribel's shoulders slumped, or the way her child's hopeful expression faded. Maybe it was because Julian himself had grown up poor, raised by a single father who counted coins at the kitchen table every night. Julian watched silently as Maribel thanked the cashier and turned the cart around, her eyes fixed on the floor. He felt a familiar ache in his chest, one he thought success had buried. Memories of skipped meals and watered-down soup surfaced uninvited. He followed her toward the exit, sunlight brightening the store as if to underline the contrast between what some had and what others lacked. Outside, the day was warm and alive. Cars passed, people chatted, life moved on without noticing the quiet struggle unfolding near the entrance. Maribel stopped near a bench, pulling her daughter out of the cart. She crouched down, brushing Alina's hair back, trying to explain with gentle gestures why there would be no milk today. Her lips trembled, and she turned her face away quickly so her child wouldn't see the tears. Julian approached slowly, careful not to startle her. He didn't want to embarrass her or make her feel smaller than the world already had. He simply stood nearby for a moment, observing the way she wiped her eyes and squared her shoulders, as if preparing to face another disappointment head-on. That resilience, quiet and uncelebrated, moved him deeply. He went back inside the store without saying a word. What he did next would ripple far beyond that parking lot. Inside, Julian didn't just buy milk. He filled an entire cart with groceries, fresh fruits, vegetables, diapers, cereal, bread, and things children love but parents often sacrifice first. He paid without hesitation, then spoke privately with the store manager. Their conversation was brief but serious. Within minutes, arrangements were being made that would quietly change more than one life. When Julian returned outside, employees followed him, pushing carts piled high. Maribel looked up in confusion, her first instinct to apologize for something she hadn't done. When she realized the groceries were for her, shock froze her in place. Her pride flared for a second, urging her to refuse, but her daughter's hungry eyes cut through it. Julian gently placed the milk in Maribel's hands. The simple weight of it felt heavier than gold. People nearby began to notice. Phones came out. Whispers spread. A few recognized Julian and assumed it was some kind of publicity stunt. But his face told a different story. There was no smile of self-congratulation, no camera angle he was playing to. Only sincerity and a quiet determination to do something right. Maribel broke down then, not loudly, but in the way someone does when they have held themselves together for too long. Tears streamed freely as she hugged her daughter and then, overwhelmed, pressed a hand to her chest as if to steady her heart. For the first time in years, she felt seen, not judged, not pitied, but understood. Julian didn't stop there. Over the next few days, he made good on the promise he had made to the store manager. He arranged for Maribel to receive a monthly grocery credit, no paperwork, no humiliating interviews. He also quietly connected her with a job training program funded by his foundation, one designed specifically for single parents who needed flexible hours and real opportunities. Maribel was hesitant at first, afraid hope might betray her again, but something about Julian's consistency convinced her this wasn't temporary kindness. Months passed, and daytime routines slowly transformed. Maribel attended classes in the mornings while Alina stayed at a childcare center sponsored by the same foundation. She learned new skills, discovered confidence she thought grief had erased, and began to imagine a future that extended beyond survival. She still cleaned houses on weekends, but now it felt like a stepping stone instead of a trap. Julian checked in occasionally, never intruding, always respectful. He didn't want gratitude, he wanted results. And what he saw amazed him. Maribel thrived. Her instructors praised her dedication. Her daughter grew healthier, happier, her laughter louder. The milk that once symbolized loss now represented stability, nourishment, and the quiet power of compassion. The day Maribel received her first full-time job offer with benefits, she stood in the same grocery store aisle, holding a carton of milk without checking the price. Sunlight streamed through the windows again, just like before, but everything felt different. She smiled, not because life was suddenly easy, but because it was finally fair. Just before we reach the ending, take a moment and comment below one word that represents what kindness means to you. Your words matter more than you know. The story spread online, stripped of names and drama, shared simply as an act of humanity. People argued about whether such gestures changed the world or only made good stories. But for Maribel and Alina, there was no debate. Their lives had been permanently altered by a stranger who chose to care. Julian never called himself a hero. He insisted he had only repaid a debt to the past version of himself who once needed help and didn't get it. He understood that wealth meant nothing if it didn't lift someone else out of the dark. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that small moments can change entire lives, please like this video, share it, and leave a comment. Your engagement helps these stories reach others who might be standing in a grocery store someday, returning something their child needs, waiting for the world to notice them.